I didn't want to talk about this until I really thought it over. I wanted to meditate on the situation because I wanted to be fair. So I just dropped my son off at his mother's home, and they don't live in our neighborhood. They live further out in this more of an upscale neighborhood. So it's about 15 minutes from our house, from where we live at. So after I dropped my older son off, I decided to take another route home. I thought it might be quicker. So I turned down this one street, and I've never been on it before, but I've been around the area long enough that I was like, okay, this will probably be a quicker way home. I turn left onto the street from the traffic light, and I immediately see this sign that says 25 miles per hour. This might sound funny, but being black and driving through a predominantly white neighborhood, there are things that you make sure that you do. You look at the speed limit and you look for police. As I'm driving down this road, I was going 25. All the cars around me, because it's a long road, they start picking up speed. So they're actually going faster than 25. So I decided, okay, all these cars are starting to pull away from me. I'll pick up a little bit of speed. So even in that situation, you know, being black and being in that area, I told myself, okay, don't go any faster than that. You can let these other cars go faster, but 28 is okay. As we are nearing the next intersection, finally, I look over to my left, and in this parking lot, I see a police officer sitting there, and he's facing out. So I instantly checked my speed. I look down at the speedometer, and I'm like, okay, I'm going 28. I honestly didn't have a problem going 28 because all the other cars, the cars that were initially with me, were already speeding away, and there were cars actually speeding up, catching up to me. I was not really worried when I saw the police officer. I have a lot of my friends are police officers, and one of my closest friends, one of my best friends, is a highway patrol officer. And many of them, actually all of my friends that are police officers, say that 28 is a safe speed to go, and that shouldn't be a problem. So that's why I didn't really, I wasn't worried about my speed when I saw the officer, but I was still very cautious. So the cars that were behind me actually catch up and they pass me. But then it's like a bunch of them because this is a busy street. I look over and I see the police officer, and he looks at me. That's when I knew that he was going to pull out. I just knew it. You can call it BESP, which stands for Black ESP. When you're black and there are situations like this, you can always know that you're going to get pulled over when you make eye contact, especially with the police officer. But I wasn't worried because I don't have anything on my record, and I had Gia with me, and we were going home. So I was just, it was on a Sunday. I was just relaxed. No, actually, I'm sorry. It was on a Monday. But I was just relaxed. I was in a good mood. So I didn't think anything was going to happen until my BESP kicked in. So the officer speeds out of the parking lot. I knew he was coming to me. Even though there were cars around me, I knew it was me that he was going to get behind, even if it took work. So I got over into the turning lane to go left. I hadn't stopped yet. Here comes a police officer. He zooms around one car that was kind of behind me and then quickly pulls in front of them. And of course they gave way. They're like, hey, it's not me that you're pulling over. So they slowed down a little bit and let him get right behind me. The light had just turned, so I am sitting there for 2 minutes. The officer pulls up really close behind me. And you can see by the way he's looking that he is running my plates. So this entire time, he's running my license plates. The light finally turns green. I turn left, he's right behind me. That's when he turns his lights on. So I pulled over, put my vehicle in park, and then I went over the checklist in my head to make sure that I would not be getting shot. I quickly pulled my wallet out of my pocket, put it on the dash, which is right below the camera here. Put it on the dash, close to the steering wheel so the officer could see it. And I put my hands on the steering wheel on the very top. So that way the officer could see where my hands were at all times. Excuse me. I have some allergies going on right now, so my voice is a little bit off. So the officer walks up and he looks at me and he says,
"Do you know how fast you were going?"
In my head, I answered,
Not as fast as everyone else was going around me.
But what I really replied was,
Yeah, I was going 28 miles per hour.
so I wasn't going to lie about it. I didn't see it as a big problem. Like I said, most of my friends that are officers said 28 is a safe speed. I didn't see a problem with it. But then I remembered what one of my officer buddies said.
Most officers don't care. But then there might be that one officer that's a dickhead.
So the officer says,
The speed limit around here is 25 miles per hour. What you were going is a bit much.
even though the other vehicles were going much faster than me. So the officer continues with this lecture and about how unsafe it is to drive faster than 25 miles per hour because of the businesses that are in that area. Like I said, I was driving the slowest out of all the vehicles around me. Cars were passing me, and I was playing it safe driving 28. So I didn't want to argue because I don't want to end up dead or whatever. And I had my daughter in the car. The next thing the officer did after he was done with his lecture is he asked for my license. I asked the officer if I could take my hands off the wheel to grab the license, my wallet off of the dashboard to give to him, and that I needed to grab my phone because we went paperless for our car insurance. So I would have to show him proof of my car insurance from my phone. And that I had to text my wife, Sidra, to send me the insurance card. So then I'm able to give the officer all the information, and he takes my driver's license, and then he says,
Sit tight. I'll be right back.
While we waited, Gia actually said, why was the officer so mean? Now, to me, the officer didn't necessarily seem mean. He was just cold, and maybe that makes it's easier for his job, because I understand it is an emotional job. But he wasn't, he didn't have to be friendly to me, he was just doing his job. But he was very cold, very short, and to the point. And I guess that is why Gia thought he was mean. After about maybe 10 minutes or so, maybe a little more, he walks back to the car, and I'm looking at him, or my view mirror on the side. He looks defeated. I don't have anything on my record. So he hands me back my driver's license. But I knew there was going to be a but. The officer said, and I quote,
Your record is clean. But I'm going to put you in the system with a warning. So what that means is, if you're pulled over again out here, another officer won't be so kind. It won't be a warning.
So I pulled off, my life intact. But I will say that, I won't lie, I was concerned when I got pulled over because I didn't see anything that I was doing that would be a cause to pull me over. But I knew why I was getting pulled. If that makes sense, I knew why I was getting pulled over. It was a DWB. If anyone knows what a DWB is, go ahead and put it in the comments section, because somebody might not know what a DWB is, but it is a very common infraction. So I felt that it was a DWB. The funny thing is, though, when I first pulled off, I didn't think anything. It was after it echoed in my mind how he said at the end,
I'm gonna let you off with a warning, but, I'm gonna put you in the system.
And when he said he's going to put me in the system, it made me think back again to friends who are police officers. There was no need to put you in the system for a warning, but he put me in the system for a warning just in case I got pulled over again, because the next time it would not be a warning, it would be a ticket. And that's when I started to think back and meditate, not just think back, but sit down and thought about the whole situation. Then I was like, I was the one who was driving the slowest. I was the car more like into the middle of this group. So I guess as I played back all these things in my head, it made me think, maybe this was a black moment. Maybe I was being pulled over for the wrong reason. And I wouldn't have thought anything about it until the very end, when he seemed to just have more of an attitude with me. And there shouldn't have been. I was smiling. There was nothing on my record. There was no reason to really have an attitude with me. And for him to issue that warning, I get it, I get it. Police officers can issue warnings, but he issued me a warning and then put it in his system. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that this was a DWB? Or do you think that this was all legit and there's not a problem at all? Leave it in the comment section and tell me what you think.